This week marks the 1-year anniversary of Dani's delicious dish. So this week we're gonna make fresh strawberry cupcakes in celebration. Let's do this. I'm Dani Lebovitz, a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and fitness enthusiast who loves to eat. Welcome to Dani's Delicious Dish, where we get serious about food, fitness, and living better. Food brings people together, it nourishes our bodies, and influences how we learn, grow, and heal. We're gonna take you from the classroom, to the gym, to the market, to the kitchen. We've spent the last year together focusing on living better through food and fitness. So today, for our 1-year anniversary, we're making cupcakes with a little food science in the mix. And we're making fresh strawberry cupcakes because strawberries are local and in season. So before I start any baking, I make sure I set my oven to the appropriate temperature. And for our cupcakes today, that is 350 degrees. The next thing I do is I prep my baking pan. So I've taken my cupcake tin and I've set it up with cupcake liners and I've sprayed it down with nonstick spray. So when our batter is ready, we're ready to get started baking. All right, so let's get started with our dry ingredients. Here I have 3/4 a cup of whole wheat flour. I have 3/4 a cup of white flour. I have 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/4 a teaspoon of salt. Now baking powder rises and soda spreads. So whenever you're trying to figure out if you need baking soda or baking powder in a recipe, think about what it does. We want those cupcakes to rise really nicely, so we're using baking powder. So let's mix those together really well. Now, we prepare our dry ingredients and our wet ingredients separately so that we can be sure that our dry ingredients get mixed and really well with the salt and the baking powder. And this also helps prevent us from over stirring our batter when we mix it in with the wet ingredients. So once that is mixed really nicely, then we will get started on our wet ingredients. Now we're gonna start on our liquid ingredients. So we're gonna take about 1/2 cup of butter. Now I've left these out for about 20 minutes. You want it to be cool to touch, but give just slightly under pressure for under your finger pressure. This is important because if the butter is too soft, then it will melt. And if it melts, then you're not gonna have a good final product. So after you've softened your butter for about 20 seconds on medium speed, then you're gonna start adding your sugar to it. Now this is called creaming, and creaming is one of the most important things you'll do in this entire recipe. It's really important because this is what helps provide structure to the cupcake itself and helps create air bubbles that make it light and fluffy. So we're gonna slowly add our sugar into this mix. Pause every little bit and make sure that you are taking the butter out of the wire whisk and that you're scraping down the sides so that you can make sure the sugar and the butter are mixed really well together. Once the mixture is really well combined, you'll notice that it's like a light creamy color yellow and that it's a little bit gritty. Then it's ready to start adding the rest of your wet ingredients. So the next thing we're gonna add is 1 whole egg, and we're gonna mix that until it's well blended. We add a whole egg because the yolk in there gives it a nice richness and really good flavor in the final product. The next thing we're gonna add after this is well blended and combined is 2 egg whites. Now, egg whites are important in baked goods because they provide structure and it acts as a leavening agent. So this is what helps the recipe rise nicely. So let's add our egg whites to this and let it mix on low to medium speed for about 30 seconds. Once the sugar and eggs are really well combined, then you're gonna add the rest of your wet ingredients. So here I have about 1/4 a cup of milk. I'm using 1% milk today. I have a teaspoon of vanilla, and then I'm gonna add my 3/4 a cup of pureed strawberry. Now I pureed these before we got started today just to make it a little bit quicker, but I pureed about a cup of strawberries and I made it nice and thick, and the reason why I made it nice and thick is because I wanted to have some nice strawberry chunks in there so you could actually see the strawberry and give it a really nice texture. So once that's mixed up really well, then we're gonna combine our wet and dry ingredients intermittently. All right, so The next key part is that we are going to combine our wet and dry ingredients, and we're going to layer them. We're going to start with our dry ingredient, and then we're going to add in a little bit of wet. And the reason for doing this is so that we can make sure all the liquid is absorbed in a way that can keep it moist. If we add in all the liquid and then the dry, we might overbeat the batter. So we're going to put this on medium-low, and we're going to add just a little bit of this flour. And then we're going to add a little bit of our liquid measure. And when we're done, we're going to finish with the flour. So it'll probably be about 5 layers. So add your strawberry and vanilla. And again, right now I have my mixer on low because I don't want to over-stir the batter. I'm going to do one more layer of our liquid. Again, this is to make sure that it's combined really nicely, that we don't over-stir the batter, and that we aren't causing the butter and the flour to separate things. And let's finish with our flour. Take a moment to brush down the sides to make sure that we are incorporating all of the flour that might be up along the edges of your mixer. You want to stir it till it's just all wet and nicely mixed. Once the mixture is well combined, you want to make sure you turn off your mixer. This is important because oftentimes people can over-stir the batter, and when you over-stir the batter, it can create tunnels in the cupcake itself. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fill up our cupcakes, and we're going to fill it with 1/4 a cup of measure. I like to use the 1/4 a cup dry measure because it gives us just the right amount to fill up each cupcake tin. Let's pop it in the oven. Now we're going to make the fresh strawberry buttercream frosting. So take your butter out of the fridge. You want it to sit out for about 20 minutes. Again, it should be cold to touch, but give slightly under pressure. Now this is important because if the butter is too melted, it won't make a very nice frosting. So we're going to do the same thing and whip it up for about 30 seconds until it's light and fluffy, and then add our sugar. Once our butter is light and fluffy, then we're going to add our powdered sugar. So for our frosting, I've used about 1/4 a cup of salted butter, and then I'm going to add about 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. And I'm going to add it slowly and scrape down on the sides just to make sure that it's mixed really well. I'm doing this on a low speed. Again, I don't want to melt that butter. You'll know that your butter and sugar are mixed really well when it's off-white in color and a little bit gritty. Once that's ready, then you're going to add your strawberries. Now this is the 1/4 a cup that I reserved of my strawberry puree to add to the frosting. So I'm just going to throw that in the mixing bowl and mix it together until it's well combined. And that is it. All right, this is what it looks like when it's ready. It's really well combined. And let's taste it. So good. I can't wait to have it on the cupcakes. Once the cupcakes are done baking, I like to take them out of the cupcake pan and remove the paper or foil liner and place them on a wire cooling rack to cool. They cool more quickly, they're easier to frost, and easier to eat. So let's frost one of these 1-year anniversary fresh strawberry cupcakes. Wahoo! Make sure that they're nice and cool before you start frosting, otherwise you'll end up with frosting all over the side of the cupcake. That looks pretty good to me. Let's try it. So yummy. Sweet treats are part of living better, just in moderation. Happy 1-year anniversary, and thanks for being a part of this delicious journey. I'm Dani the dietitian. Till next time, live deliciously.